They
And
are
you
always on.
the crowd is dope. The crowd is amazing. And the crowd knows that you always got good health information. Now, for those of you who are new to the show, you just need to know that Dr. Damas, when you talk about cannabis, you're talking about usually the CBD side of things, right? And so I didn't get a chance
Right.
to go further into your bio, but after you had your own injuries with the NFL and you went to medical school, you then also realized that the CBD side of the plant, which is the side of the plant that does not get you high, just gives you all the benefits of the plant, was something that we should be incorporating into our healthcare overall to the extent that it is applicable and appropriate. And so talk to us a little bit today because you've got something, we've been talking about the brothers for several weeks. We had a whole
Yeah.
Father's Day segment. You came up from with a number of other black men. We had our town hall in June. So we've been focusing a lot on the brothers. And today it seems as though we're going to shift some attention back to the sisters a little bit with this latest article. Talk to us about the information you have for us today.
Yeah, we're gonna talk to the sistren. We finished talking to the brethren them.
The
Right,
brethren
my
them.
brother.
The brethren them all right. They all
My
right.
brothers. So you know what's funny about I was thinking about this from before because it's Wimbledon going on, right? And
Right.
I had a whole bunch of elbow. I've had bad elbows for my body's like a hodgepodge of like stuff. Um, and so common complaint that people have is tennis elbow, and I've had
Mm.
tennis elbow, but I don't play tennis, right? And I've had golfer's elbow, and I don't play golf, right? And so,
What are you doing, sir? What's
what
happening
do
with
I
the?
do? I'm
I don't know
on,
that we want to know.
I'm
We don't
perpetrating
want
a
to
fraud. You know, saying I'm
know.
fronting. Nah. So what happens is that we have these elbow conditions that get these names for some reason or another because maybe it's like way back in the day, this is how it presented. So people who were playing golf or people who were playing tennis, they presented with pain on the outside of the elbow
Mm.
or on the inside of the elbow, and from there, and it's important to consider how these things got their monikers in terms of the healthcare disparity things that we always talk about, right? So you got to think about who be playing golf and who be playing tennis,
Right.
right? And so, right, what demographics, and this is old timer kind of stuff for a long time. What demographics would be playing those sports
Right.
activities at such a pace or such a frequency that they get this stuff. And then as a result of that, the medical community is like, we're just going to nickname this, right? We're going to nickname
Right.
it um, golfer's elbow because these are the people that we treat for this, right?
Because
Although
it could have
there
very
are,
easily been called sharecropper's elbow. Because if you doing that
yeah,
that concept, I mean, there are so
yeah,
many other ways in which
yeah,
you can
so
injure
many
that part of
things,
your
right?
body. But when the
Uh,
golfers and the tennis players got it, it got a name.
Yeah,
Mm.
that's what we're talking about, right? And so I decided to put something together. I was thinking about the tennis elbow, but I was in the gym like 3 weeks ago and my elbow started hurting me. And I was like, I
Mm.
know what this is. I don't like this, right? So I was like, you know what? Wimbledon was on TV. I was like, I'm going to talk about the golfer's elbow and the tennis elbow and bursitis, the olecranon, because I had like to get my elbow drained 6 months ago. So it was like,
Oh
let's
my
talk to the
God.
people about this. This is personal. Wimbledon's going on, and I'm sure there's a lot of people going through elbow pain and don't know what's going on and how to deal with it adequately. And also, and one last thing is that what's interesting as I did this research is the kind of activities that people, when we talked about the cultural significance of this, the kind of activities or vocations or jobs that would affect sisters, missistering them, right?
Right.
What would affect sisters is like, what are the like, top reasons why people get this stuff, but it's not called that. Right. And so
Mm.
we'll get into it. We'll get into it. Oh, yeah. And one real quick thing. Yeah. Last week's conversations, last 2 weeks, shouts out to everybody who called the office and email. You are absolutely right. There was like a big space. There was a big need for that. And so did it. Shouts out to the crowd and everyone who hit us up. I'm happy, to have participated
Mm.
and shared this stuff because it seems like, that was something that needed to be touched upon. So,
Yeah. We don't
anytime we
have a
can
lot of
do it, we
spaces
can
where
have
we're
it.
Yeah, there are just not a lot of spaces where we can have open dialogue about mental health for Black men from their perspective. So I knew it was going to land powerfully the first time we had the discussion, but I was a little overwhelmed myself with how positively people received that. So again, thank you for showing up in that space. And so let's get into this conversation, because I'm thinking of all the many reasons why people are complaining about this particular part of the body, including holding heavy ass bags, working at a desk, like
Yeah.
when you've got, you get carpal tunnel in the wrist, but depending on how you're sitting, this is one of those pains that's easy to ignore also until it becomes unignorable. So talk to us about what we should know about the ways in which we can injure this part of the body.
Yeah, so the first one we'll talk about is a common one that people probably heard that term before. We mentioned it, tennis elbow. Wimbledon is going on right now. The sisters all got eliminated, so I don't think we got anybody else left, right? Coco's
Right? Is that still
gone.
happening? Oh,
Sloan
Coco
is
not
gone.
there.
Yeah, Sloan's out. Coco's out. And my Haitian sister, she's out. But so it's lateral epicondylitis, right? So there's a little bone at your elbow. There's like a medial, which is the inside, and there's a lateral epicondyle. And then you can get the itis of the epicondyle, meaning not that it eats too much and gets sleepy, but it gets irritated and inflamed, right? So your elbow's not eating too much and getting sleepy, right? And so it's caused by like repetitive motions. And so in tennis, there's that bringing the arm back and hitting, right? But
Mm-hmm.
you also get it, like you mentioned, from office workers, moms, and
Holding
really,
them
really
heavy ass
important in our
kids.
community. Yeah, really, really important in our community. Hairstylists. Hairstylists are
Mm.
one of the largest demographics that get the lateral epicondylitis, which is
Wow.
tennis, right? And so if you're in that, beauty industry, hair, lashes, whatever, and you're doing these movements over time, you can start irritating that elbow. You got to think about that. It's all day long, and this is not just like, oh, I'm going out and I'm playing a little game of tennis here for a couple of hours. This is like I'm doing this 8, 12 hours a day, 4, 5, 6 days a week, and then
Right.
I start getting pain in this elbow, right? And so most people kind of like suck it up, so it gets worse over time, like anything else. Usually it can like, swell up. It can cause discomfort all the way down to the hands. So you don't know like what's
Mm.
going on. It's the elbow, if it's like my hand, if it's both, it's all that good stuff. The issue comes around, the issue really gets worse is the access to care or the acknowledgement of care. And we'll talk about this. We've talked about it in the past in terms of how we sometimes diminish our need for care, or we go
Yep.
seek care at providers, and the providers then diminish the complaints, especially among sisters. We've discussed this in past shows where the medical community as a large, and this has been proven through research, that they think that y'all are superhuman, right?
Yep.
Like, yeah,
Yep.
you can come in there and like, oh my God, look at this hole in my leg, right? And all my muscles are pouring out of me. And they're like, she's all right. Don't worry about it. She doesn't need any pain
Yep.
meds to manage it. And
She's
so
got that
there is
good black slave stock. She's fine. Leave her alone.
she's tough.
Dated here.
She'll give her a high five. Go ahead, strong black woman. Right. And so the second condition is golfer's elbow, which is medial epicondylitis, right? So the inside the medial side, again, right? Like how many people are playing golf so much that it's like, oh,
Right.
my elbow's hurting me. I've been playing so much golf. We ain't got no time to be playing that much golf.
And
Like,
don't nobody want to hear about your golf
be a
injury, okay?
professional.
Because
And
don't nobody want to hear that shit.
not be a professional, right? And so again, this is something that comes about as you do repetitive, constant motion. Now, on the other side, people who use tools a lot, right? So we're like repairmen, mechanics, or people
Mm.
nursing, people doing small movements and things like that. And so it's on the inside. This sometimes can trap a nerve, and then you'll get like median nerve, then I'm losing my train of thought, but you can get nerve irritation as well. So it can radiate down to the hands as well, decrease your range of motion, decrease your grip strength. So it makes it harder. So, like, oh my God, my hands are getting weaker. Well, it's coming all the way back from the elbow, actually.
Oh,
So
wow.
sometimes it doesn't stay localized at the elbow and it could go down distantly, right? And then
Mm.
the last one, we have olecranon bursitis, and so there's a little bone in the back. That one is messed up for me as well, right? I had to have my elbow drained, and so that is something that you get. This is the craziest thing. You'll get that from pressure on there or trauma. So if you're
Like when
resting
you
your
sit and
elbow,
lean on your
yeah,
oh
yeah,
my
yeah,
God. Literally how I'm
yeah.
sitting right now. Like my chin is in my
I
hand and
caught
my elbow. I do this all the time. Are you serious?
you. And so these kind of things, right? So if you're sitting at a desk all the time, you've got your elbows there, or if you're bumping into things, right? So for me, it got me from the gym. So I bumped into things, bars hit, and I was like, right? And so you can sometimes, there's little bone spurs that grow at the end of the elbows. They look like little bat wings if you do an
Oh my
X-ray. And
gosh.
sometimes those bone spurs can break off, or they can just swell out of control. You'll see people come say, "Man, my elbow swelled up like a golf ball." Or it's like a golf ball in my, or softball in my elbow. So that's what that is. That's that bursitis. That's that bursa sac, which is a sac of
Wow.
fluid that lubricate the joint. All those things commonly happen, right? Commonly happen and commonly happen. This is how we get sisters involved in this conversation, is because even though they have these names for these like kind of really niche sports, tennis, golfers, whatever, right? We've discussed how they disproportionately affect activity, certain type of activities, office work. We're talking about labor, using tools, this and that. Guess who does those kind of jobs,
You
right?
know what?
Guess who does those rigorous, manual, stressful, right, jobs that would lead you to complaints at the elbow more than anybody else? Take one
Damn
guess.
it. I'm going to volunteer as tribute. I'm going to suggest it's
You,
us. It's always black women. Damn
it
it.
is y'all. It is y'all. Look at me. I'm smiling like I. It is. It ain't cool. It ain't right. Right. So that's so.
You smiling like you
You
escaped it. Meanwhile, you got all of these things happening in your own
Hey,
elbow.
what?
So,
I'm smiling. I know to go get my elbow drained. I can't do tricep extensions. Like when I go to the gym, I don't be doing tricep extensions. Like I take it easy on that because my elbow is like, chill, just chill, homeboy.
mm.
Like cut the crap. So So according to the CDC, and for anyone who wants to really get into like the weeds of this, the blog is online. It's posted. So and there's links in there for the data. According to the CDC, Black women are more likely to work in physically demanding roles in healthcare, in the service industry, in manufacturing, and their repetitive jobs. And so this is like not made up, and is and you could look around and you could see that, like if you ever take a moment to look at it, you can see that healthcare, it's a pathway to like middle class or stability. A lot of the government jobs, a lot of these jobs that back in the day was like get yourself something stable that will make sure that you don't have any income instability, that you got benefits, and those are
mm.
physically demanding, whether it's like nurses aides, or they used to call them orderlies back in the days, or nurses themselves, or a lot of the, secretarial office jobs where you're resting your elbow right there, just like that. And
Mm.
so you think,
Damn it. I did it again. Right after you told
I
me what
got
it
you
was, I went
again.
right back to it.
Gotcha,
Damn it.
gotcha again.
My poor elbow, Lord.
Right?
Prevent it, Father.
And so,
Mother, Father, God, please prevent the harm that I'm causing
and
myself.
so Lord, please. So the bad thing about that is, right? So you're doing these jobs, they're physically demanding, and then you start getting these kind of repetitive use injuries, right? At the elbow. Now, how are you going to deal with it? Do you have the
Mm.
ability to take time off to go get care for it, right? Can you miss hours, right? Can you take time off of work? Do you have the leeway
Wow.
in those kind of positions to go and say, well, I'm going to go see the doctor for something, but it's not life threatening. It's
Mm.
just, it's affecting my quality of life a lot, and it hurts me at work. But do I have time to go off to do that and everything that?
Nope.
Is it all going to be covered and paid for? And if I go there, are they going to do anything for me, or are they just going to say, yeah, that's great. You'll say, take two aspirin and like, thank you, and make sure you cut off your copay at the front. Make sure you break
Right.
us off with that payment at the front, right? And so a
Exactly.
lot
Like,
of
could I just treat this at the local pharmacy with get my own
yeah,
Tylenol, or should I actually go get
yeah,
a diagnosis for something that is probably going to make me pay even more? That's insane.
yeah.
But it's healthcare in
And so
America.
there's another study from the NIH did a review and found that black people in general, so brothers and sisters in general, but specifically sisters, really receive less consistent pain management and rehab referrals. So, like I
Mm.
said, so some of this stuff that we talk about in terms of like, people not trusting the system, people not going to see the doctors, some of it is like, culturally, we're like, hey, that's just the way we program you to suck it up. But others is like, hey, I've already tried it. I've already
Right.
done this. I've done it a
Right.
whole lot of times. So you want me to go do the same thing again? I already know what they're gonna do. I'm not gonna
Right.
waste time over, or if they do anything, they're gonna give me something that is gonna make me feel horrible. So I'm not
Right.
even messing with them. This is a multifactorial thing, and the fact that we don't have a great amount of people of our demographics in healthcare, right? So there's not a whole lot of black doctors. We're slowly increasing the numbers. There's not a whole lot of black sister doctors. So then you'll go to somebody who's gonna be like, "Yo, you're a hairdresser. Why are you beefing about say tennis elbow? Right? You talk
Right.
much help. I don't like wait, I don't know
Wow.
what you're talking about, right? So
Mm.
all those things when we talk about health, then we don't see health in the same paradigm as Western medicine does, right? So as
Right.
indigenous people, people of color, black people, we don't see it the same way. It's more of a holistic thing, and we see it as a whole body thing, whereas sometimes Western medicine sees you as just little individual parts and not taking into
So
consideration the entirety of the person.
And that feels to be like the pattern that they follow every single time. And I noticed that in the article that you wrote for this particular topic, you note that joint overuse injuries are rising among women over 40, especially as we as a population stay more active and engaged longer in life. And then you provide the traditional treatments, which we've already talked about some, the NSAIDs, the ibuprofen, naproxen, the cortisol injections, which I know a lot of people in my community or in my portion of the community, like, they're going to give you a steroid injection. There's the physical therapy. But then again, if I can't take time off to go get a diagnosis, chances are I'm not even contemplating the capacity of getting physical therapy. And then a lot of us would just put a splint on, put a brace on it, and put some tussin on it and keep it moving.
They keep it moving, right?
Just keep it
It's the
moving.
truth. So you're
Yeah.
not, there's all these factors that play into it. And if you look at some of the other things, it's like, even during COVID, we did a lot of those jobs that people were, so like cleaning the hospitals, all those
Yep.
jobs, that was us. I know a sister who was like, I used to clean the hospitals during COVID. She had
Right.
a full-time job and she went afterwards, was like, I'm gonna make some more money doing that. And to this day, she's like, oh, my hands are bothering me from that because she was working hard.
Mm,
So, we do those jobs, and
right.
having the understanding that these conditions are not specific to a demographic that plays golf and tennis, that does stuff, makes a big difference, because then you have
Yeah.
more perspective. When the person comes in and they say, this is what's bothering me, you could understand a little bit more if you have a little bit of cultural relevance to what's going on in that person's life. You're not just going to dismiss it as a drug seeker or a hypochondriac or whatever. You're going to say,
Mm.
yeah, I get it. I know you're on your feet all day. I know you're doing this thing all day long. I know that like you've got your hands on the table and your fist. She just changed that. I
This is the
called
fourth.
out again.
Wait, look, not only is this the fourth time you've called me out, but the last time you did it, I went from this elbow to leaning on this elbow. Like that was doing something. So, Dr. Damas, we only have a few minutes left. And so I know you've got patients and whatnot to see, but I know you often will spend a lot of time talking with us about some of the holistic responses that can show up for us. And so, what can we do holistically? And can CBD actually play a role in supporting that holistic approach?
But we always talk about the holistic approach. There's no silver bullet. There's no magic oil. There's no like, it doesn't where somebody comes at you with like, hey, I got this one solution for you. It's bogus. It's fugazi. That's a hustle, right? So you're a complex individual. There are complex solutions to your complex problems. You got to do all of the above. So the foods that you eat make a big difference.
Mm.
Anti-inflammatory inflammation is part of it. So making sure you have, the right amount of omega-3s in your diet. Supplements like turmeric and ginger are very good. They're very anti-inflammatory, right? Hot and cold therapy are good. So ice packs and heat packs, those things work, right? Acupuncture, massage therapy, all of
Yes.
those things actually, so not individually, but together, they all play a role in decrease the inflammatory response and the pain signal. And then we get to CBD, right? Which
Mm.
is really cool. We talked about this. It's what I particularly deal with, and it's like cannabis. It's a cousin to the cannabis plant from hemp. It doesn't get you high. It's like the weed, but a century ago. So it doesn't have a whole lot of THC. You guys got to remember, like, weed was not like this big recreational thing that people are doing now. It was not whatsoever. It was part of our medicine cabinet, right? And so people
Mm.
use plants and things in a whole lot of different ways than what they were originally intended, made for. It's the same thing like cocaine wasn't meant to be what it is right now, right? It's like a little
Right.
leaf that you chew on, and now they transformed it into this powder and all this good stuff. And so CBD is very good because you can use it
You said good
internally.
stuff.